I remember you saying your mum was very much tied to the house.
She was, she married Dad. I think she was 21. They married, and the phrase "the army marched on its stomach" that was Mum's mantra. That her job was to feed the farm staff, and whoever was there got fed. Whoever came in, so she virtually lived in the kitchen. The Rayburn, that was her life. It was bacon at 9:30 religiously. 9:29, the frying pan was on. 9:30, they came in from the early morning work. Then there'd be a cooked meal at 1 o'clock. Then there'd be tea and cakes at 5 o'clock. So it was just back, and that was her whole life, was to make sure whoever came in had a coffee, whoever turned up was fed. And the modern generation, my children, would be horrified at her lifestyle. My 3 daughters go, well, that's not a life. But she loved it. She was happy. She felt she contributed to the farm because she was doing her purpose to keep them fed water so they could go back to work.
Yeah, and absolutely wonderful days, because if you worked on a farm, and I didn't just work on that one, you'd wake up in the morning and your job might be to go out and bring in the cows. But before you went out, if there was something left on the table, you might eat it. So you bring the cows in, then there was the milking, then you could have your breakfast. And then about 10 o'clock, you come in for your lunch. And then dinner was about 12:30. And then you had tea. And if it was when you were dealing with the corn in the harvest, they bring it out in baskets, in thermos flasks. And then you go back to work again. Then you go back into the farmhouse for a supper. And then, of course, you had something before you went to bed. And so you'd have about 10 meals a day. But, of course, it was labour intensive. So you used up all that energy.
Arthur bought me my first cookery book, which I was quite insulted about, really. And it was like the Housekeeping Beginner's Guide to Cookery or something, as if I didn't know anything about it. And he had told me at one time that I'm not going to be living out of tins. I thought, well, I don't live out of tins. Why should you be living out of tins?
But yeah, that was my, and she would do the chickens. She had hens. She'd make cream every morning. We had Jersey cows that would produce lovely milk and cream. I had cream every morning up to about age of 15 on my cornflakes. I should be 30 stone. I just explained a lot. But it was every morning fresh cream laid on your corn. Absolute. I think I would struggle to eat it now because it'd be they were pure Jerseys and they weren't fed, so the butter fat and the protein would be so high. It would be yellow. It would be a rich yellow colour. Absolutely beautiful. And that was just... Then she'd take the cream up to school and flog it every morning. And that was a bit of pin money, cash for her. And
I think her roasts were legendary, weren't they?
yeah, bless her. Her roasts were just phenomenal. Absolutely. And that was part of... Because she'd done it for when the hay harvest, when the recombing contractor come round, you'd have 16, 18 in for lunch. That was... You got fed, whatever happened. And everybody piled in for roast. So it's just, sweet memories.
And I was very proud once because I don't know why this chap was there, but he came from Yorkshire, and I'd made roast beef and Yorkshire pudding.
I was the one that put in the first mugging machine, wasn't I?
Yeah, but he was very complimentary about my Yorkshire puddings, which I was very proud of. To have a compliment about my Yorkshire puddings from a Yorkshire man meant quite a lot at the time. But I didn't know how to cook before we were married.
So I should know.